Assalamu alaikum. Allah says in the Quran, indeed prayers have been decreed upon the believers at a decreed specific time. The hadith of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As, the Prophet ﷺ said the timings of the prayers. He told us the times of the prayers, so he said that the time of Dhuhr is when the sun passes the meridian and the man's shadow is equal in length to his height as long as the time of Asr has not come. The time of Asr prayer is as long as the sun has not yet turned yellow. The time for Maghrib is so long as the red afterglow has not disappeared, and the time of Isha is not until halfway through the night, and the time of Fajr is from the break of dawn as long as the sun has not risen. Dhuhr time, when the sun comes up from the east and when we have an erected object, whether it's a standing person, individual or a stock, it has a shade, so when the sun rises the shade is too long. The more the sun rises, the shadow is getting shorter and shorter until the sun is in the middle of the sky and the erected object has no shade at all. The moment it goes a bit to the west, the erected object has a little shade to the east. This is when the time of Dhuhr begins. The more the sun gets westbound, the shade is getting longer and longer, so the time begins when the sun is exactly in the meridian. The time of prohibition begins. There's about 10 minutes that it's prohibited for us to pray, and there's 10 minutes before the Zawal time when the shade begins a little bit to the east. So these 10 minutes is prohibited to pray voluntary prayers once the shade shows. This is the beginning of the Dhuhr time. The end of Dhuhr time, the shade is getting longer and longer, the same length of this erected object. Once it reaches the same length, the time of it is over and the beginning of time of Asr. Once the erected object shade is equivalent to the height or its height or length, the time of Asr is beginning and the expiring of the time of Dhuhr. Asr time is when the length of the shade is equivalent to the length of the erected object till the sun becomes yellow. Some scholars say it's twice the length of the erected object. This is important so we do not miss our prayers, and we must pray them at the time that they've been prescribed, not after. There's no such thing as qaza, which means try sort of read them afterwards, when you feel like you have the time. No, there's specific time which has been decreed, and this is what I'm talking to you about, so listen. Once it glows, fades and it becomes yellow, we can look at it, then this means the time of necessity entered, and from the sun becoming yellow till it sets, this is a time of necessity. It's not recommended to purposely delay it till that time, because we have not observed the time of Asr, and it's the middle prayer as mentioned in the Quran. Allah says, maintain with care the obligatory prayers, and in particular the middle prayers, and stand before Allah devotedly obedient. This is what scholars say pertaining Asr prayer. If you pray them during the necessity zone, it is fine, but it's like a danger zone that you may face the issue of skipping Asr, and this is a major sin. The Prophet ﷺ said that whoever misses Asr prayer is as if he's lost his family and his wealth. And also the Prophet ﷺ said that whoever misses Asr prayer, his deeds will be rendered invalid. So the sun has already set, and this is the time of Maghrib. The Prophet ﷺ said that the time of Maghrib prayer lasts so long as the red afterglow is not disappeared. So the moment the ring of the sun disappears, this is when the time of Maghrib begins. When the sun sets, when we look at the direction of the west, there's a redness in the twilight zone. This is the afterglow. The sun has disappeared, but still there's an afterglow. Once this afterglow disappears totally, it becomes pitch black. This is when the time of Isha is due. It's highly recommended to pray Maghrib time as soon as the time begins. The Prophet ﷺ said that my ummah will continue to be fine as long as they do not delay Maghrib until the stars begin. The Sunnah, the way of the Prophet, is to pray the Maghrib prayer as soon as the sun sets. The Isha prayer, as the Prophet says, the time of it lasts until halfway through the night, so it begins when the afterglow disappears. When the time of Maghrib ends, the time of Isha begins. This is known as the Islamic time of midnight. It is not 12 o'clock as in midnight. This is not the right thing to do. The midnight is calculated by the sunset till the break of dawn, divided them by 2 and add it to the time of sunset. For example, if the time of sunset is at 5 and then the break of dawn is 6 a.m, there are 13 hours between it, and half of that is 6.5, so Islamic midnight is at 11:30. You have to be careful when calculating this. Once the midnight time ends, the Islamic midnight, so does the time of Isha prayer. Fajr time begins when the true dawn appears, and we have two dawns, a false dawn, a true dawn. The false dawn is a temporary vertical light that shows in the horizon in the east and then disappears, and after a while the true dawn appears, which is horizontal, and afterwards you see light, no more darkness. The Sunnah is to pray Fajr as soon as possible. The Prophet ﷺ used to pray Fajr as soon as a break of dawn takes place, and all the believing women would pray the masjid and wrapped in the hijab or covering, and the moment the prayer is over, they're going back home when it's still dark and no one can recognize them. This means that the prayer of Fajr ends when it is still dark, and given the ability to recognize one another because of the sunrise of the light of the sun that has not risen yet. It's not permissible to delay purposely Fajr until the sun rises, like so many Muslims do, and set their alarm near to work time, which is not appropriate to do. I'll leave you here for Amanillah wa sallallahu wa baraka ala nabina Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Astaghfirullah.